We made it. It's the final team in our 32-day quest to preview every team going to the World Cup. That team is Ghana. And they, fittingly, had perhaps the craziest run to qualification of any one of the teams that has ended up in Qatar, and they are back. Which the World Cup is better for having the Black Stars in it. It just is. I'll be streaming a watch along to every single match in the World Cup at the Twitch link in my description, so check it out, dude. Oh, sick. They started out in a heavily contested group in Africa. And this is after 4 years ago having a brutal qualifying section. A qualifying section in which they finished behind Uganda and failed to make the World Cup in spectacular fashion. A qualifying section that left perhaps not a ton of hope that Ghana would be able to return to its former glory in the height of Asamoah Gyan and Sully Muntari and company. But obviously they have, and they did it by surviving their group with South Africa and Ethiopia, who both gave them problems. The second match of qualifying after a win at home against Ethiopia was a loss away to Bafana Bafana in South Africa that might just have set the tone. But Ghana came back and won 2 matches against Zimbabwe to keep itself afloat, and then drew away to Ethiopia going into the final match. A crucial draw that basically leveled the playing field. South Africa was 3 points ahead of Ghana going into the final match day with a 1-goal difference advantage. The one thing Ghana had going for it is that it actually had more goals for. See, if you look at the final table, because you know that Ghana's going to end up winning, you can imagine Ghana with 1 less goal, and they had 6 goals for and 3 against, where South Africa had 6 goals for and 2 against. So even though the goal difference advantage was there for South Africa, goals for is the next tiebreaker, meaning that Ghana just needed to have a win of any kind. And Ghana in South Africa played in an incredibly important winner-take-all essentially game in Accra, and Ghana won. And this was a controversial game. Now, Ghana had multiple good chances to score. They were in on goal at one point. They had a chance after the South African keeper had come out and the shot from long distance just missed the empty net. But the goal that actually went in was a penalty. And when I tell you that penalty was soft, it was Charmin ultra soft. It's one of those plays in the box where a defender puts a hand on his shoulder and the guy goes down like he's been shot by a sniper in the stands. It worked. It was a flop, and it worked. And Ghana won and advanced to the final round of African qualifying. Because, yeah, this wasn't even the final round. You have to win this group to get to the final round. Ghana was drawn against Nigeria, the Super Eagles, a team that makes the World Cup like it's their job, the team that out of Africa had made the most consecutive World Cups active streak going into this moment. So it did not look good for Ghana. Ghana hangs on and makes it back to the World Cup against all of the odds and by the narrowest of margins. Watching all of this happen live felt like a stroke of luck. Ghana just seemed to be unkillable. They were the blessed team in African qualifying that had survived 2 adversaries that thought they'd gotten the better of them until they hadn't. And for Ghana, it is a welcome reprieve from what was almost a return to irrelevance. See, this is Ghana's 4th World Cup, and Ghana had only made its first World Cup in 2006, and they immediately burst onto the scene and made the round of 16. Then in 2010, Ghana made the quarterfinals. But after one more appearance in 2014, Ghana vanished off the face of the earth and finished behind Uganda in qualifying. It looked like as quickly as Ghana had appeared and rocked the whole footballing world, they were gone. But the fortuitousness of their return doesn't necessarily belie a team that's going to be successful. So why do I think they're a threat anyways? Well, let me take you back to 2014. This was Ghana's last World Cup. They were drawn into the group of death: Germany, Portugal, United States, and Ghana. There was a great ad in the United States about how it was the group of death because we were in it, but no, that's not the case, as Ghana made the quarterfinals of the World Cup last time, and Portugal and Germany were also in this group. Now, Ghana did lose to the United States and Portugal, but they drew freaking Germany. And that is proof that in all 3 World Cups Ghana has participated in, they have offered a really serious competitive edge. And that is more than can be said for almost every other country that qualifies out of Africa. So why on earth do I think they can be a threat? Because Ghana has a deep pool of something that most countries don't necessarily have. They have a diaspora. What is a diaspora? Any group migration or flight from a country or region. There are a lot of people with Ghanaian ancestry, parents, grandparents, all over the world. And after Ghana made the World Cup, they picked up the phone. Players like Callum Hudson-Odoi and Eddie Nketiah were contacted by the national team, although they are still holding out hopes of being able to play for England, a country that they grew up in. Some other players, however, have made the switch, and one of them is my player to watch because he has just started to play for Ghana, and in my opinion, he's already the most important player on the team at the World Cup. Iñaki Williams. Born in Bilbao in the Basque Country in Spain, he has come up at Athletic Bilbao and become a dynamite player in La Liga. He is the son of immigrants from Ghana. He's actually named after a local person that helped the family integrate into society after immigrating. And now the name Iñaki carries with it the understanding of an explosive forward who literally plays every second of every match. He has 237 consecutive appearances for Athletic Bilbao, and in those appearances, he has caught the eye of the Spanish national team. In the run-up to the 2016 European Championships, he made an appearance in a friendly for Spain, but he wasn't cap-tied for sure because it was a friendly. It wasn't a competitive match. But after that, Spain never really seemed to give Iñaki Williams the time of day. And as recently as 2021, he spoke in an interview about how he felt Spanish in Basque and he didn't want to take a spot on the Ghanaian national team from somebody who felt Ghanaian with their whole heart. And a lot of people from Ghana interpreted this as he was just never going to play for Ghana. But then they've made the World Cup, and well, I don't know if it was Iñaki Williams and his parents talking to him or whatever, because both of his parents were born in Accra and grew up there. He now wants to play for Ghana, because one thing that they have missed is that star forward like Asamoah Gyan was for them in their golden years. And Iñaki Williams can be that good. Because Iñaki Williams isn't the only one. Tariq Lamptey, the right back from Brighton, has also committed to play for the Ghanaian national team. That's a huge get for Ghana. That's two players that offer regular playing time in two of the top leagues, arguably the top two leagues in the entire world, that are joining a Ghanaian team in a spot that the Ghanaian team really needed them. But Otto needs to come up with a way to integrate those players. And in recent friendlies, it was a 4-2-3-1. But who knows what they're going to come out with after having a more time to train with all these guys. Can't really look back at previous matches because some of their most key players weren't on the team. What we do know for sure is their starting goalkeeper, Joe Wallacott, is hurt. He will not be at this tournament, so it's a bit of an open question who's going to start. Now, doing some research, reading some articles from journalists who talk to the people that are working with these teams, Lawrence Aidzigi from St. Gallen is probably going to be the goalkeeper, but nobody seems to know for sure. Ghana's goalkeeper problems have always been well documented, and the loss of Wallacott is just the latest in a long line. The center of defense, though, is actually fairly strong. Daniel Amartey from Leicester, Jiku from Strasbourg, and they have Joseph Aidu, plays for Celta Vigo. Those are quality players in the middle of defense. They just needed help at that right back position, and that's where Lamptey steps in opposite Baba Rahman, who offers a forward wing back type flair out there on the left. The midfield was actually the strongest point for Ghana and the only way they made it to the World Cup in the first place. Not only do you have Andre Ayew lurking around there, one more appearance for him, and he actually breaks the all-time appearance record for Ghana with 110. Thomas Partey from Arsenal is there. He's the guy that scored the most important goal, and it seems when I've watched them, the spiritual leader of the team. They rally around him. And the question of who to rely on up top is answered. Iñaki Williams is the guy. You still have Jordan Ayew kicking around up top, and Isahaku Fatawu, who is a bright young player at Sporting who might be the X factor to burst onto the scene for Ghana. Amazingly, with two additions, this is a team that went from one that didn't inspire a lot of faith at all, to which I would have reacted in the same way I've reacted to Cameroon and Saudi Arabia throughout this preview process, to a team that I do believe could make some noise if Iñaki Williams and Tariq Lamptey integrate well into the team. But just because they can make some noise doesn't mean they're going to get out of the group. What are their chances? I don't think their chances are high. And that's unfortunate because Ghana is a very fun team that plays with a lot of energy. They play with a lot of creativity. They play with a lot of passion. And I don't think they're going to be able to get out of this group stage. And that brings our World Cup preview process to a close. That's fabulous news, honestly, because it means the World Cup starts tomorrow. And after 4 years, over 4 years, because of the wait past the summer, a pandemic, and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff, we will get the world's greatest sporting event again. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this. And if you missed any of the 32 teams, please do check it out up there. That's the full playlist. And if you enjoyed this process, if you enjoyed these videos, subscribe. It would mean a lot, and we'd be able to do stuff like this again. I'll see you on the watch-alongs. The World Cup is here.